Alright, so welcome back everybody. So for this video, I'm going to be unboxing 6 Sojourns from Red Raven Games and designed by Ryan Lockett. This is an 8-minute Empire game. This is like a much huger, bigger, more deluxe version of 8-minute Empire, but with tons of expansions, tons more stuff to do, so much replayability from what I understand, and just simply amazing. And it's got sea serpents, which is amazing. Or you can play with sea serpents anyways. You don't have to have them in every game, which is still awesome. Lots of replayability. So let's take a look and see what's inside. I'm so excited to get this game. This looks amazing. There we go. All right, so we got components here. Let's take a look at the components before we start delving into this box. But before that, these came with the box. So they weren't inside the box, they came with the box, because I got them at, extra. Wooden sea serpents, that's what they are. So that's cool. Let's take a look at one. There we go. You gonna focus? There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I love that. That is very cool. And we've got several of them. Very, very cool. Okay, let's look at the other components next. We got lots of them. Okay, so we've got lots of cubes in here and other different shapes. Some are cubes, some are not cubes. So let's see. Let's look. See, so the difference. So we've got, that's not exactly a cube, right? So we've got those, but then we've got the same ones, but in white instead of yellow. And let's see, can we find a regular cube in here? Oh, maybe they're not all cubes. Maybe they're all that shape. Okay, so they're all that shape. Cool. Okay. Some of that, it just looked like some of them were cubes. All right, cool. All right, well, we got more to look at. We've got these, what looks like towers in the different player colors. This is a 1 to 4 player game, I believe. So we got blue, and then we've got red, yellow, and white. Cool, cool. Okay, let's move on. There's still lots to look at after all. Okay. We've got discs of the 4 different player colors. So that's cool. Discs. Flat discs. Flat square discs. Okay, what else we got? We've got, these are houses, I think. Yes, they're houses. Cool. Lots and lots of houses of the 4 different colors. But it looks, yeah, they're all the same, just different colors, obviously, for the 4 different player colors. Yellow, red, white, and blue. Very cool. So lots and lots of those. Okay. All right, we got more. Okay, so looks like these are boats. The boats, because there's a lot of ocean in this game, so you're gonna need boats to travel around. So boats in the 4 different player colors. Yellow, blue, red, white. Very, very cool. Very cool. All right. So yeah, lots and lots of boats. All right, so then, I'm not sure what these are, but that's what they look like anyway. Cool. Little tokens. I'm not exactly sure what they're for yet. Then we've got the actual cube. Well, no. These are the tokens from earlier, except they're in red and blue this time instead of white and yellow. So that's cool. Lots of them as well. And then these are the shrines. Yes, these are the shrines. Okay. Very cool. So those are the shrines. And then we have, well, these. We have these. So what are these? Well, we've got the volcano for the volcano map that's got a big volcano in its center. That's what this is for. Looks like we've got some blimps, you know, some airships, sort of, you know. 2 of those in total. We've also got whatever these are. Looks like mountains, maybe. Cool. So we got several of the mountains as well. So that's cool. Let's put those back. So yeah. So those are those components. Okay. So that's a lot of components. Let's see here. Let me pause it for a second. All right. I just wanted to save a little time and put all the components in this big bag so we don't lose anything, and so it's out of my way, so we can look at other stuff that are in this box, like these coins, for instance. These metal coins. So let's actually fix the camera a bit. Let's do it this way. My arm is getting tired of constantly holding stuff up to the camera, and I can just as easily let my arm and wrist rest on the table while I show you the components. It's a lot easier. So these are metal coins. This one's got an island on it, but the other side, I think, yeah, the other side is different. Just the water, just the waves, with that little circle on there to indicate that it's like worth a point or it's one currency, right? And we've got several of those little metal coins. Feel very nice, and they're very clinky, making like lots of nice noise that metal coins make. Let's look at these bigger ones. It's got 5 circles on it, so it must be worth 5. And it's got waves on that side, and it's got a boat on the other side. That's really cool. So yeah, they feel nice indeed. Cool. And then we've got even bigger metal coins. This one's got 10 on it, 10 of those circles. So it's obviously going to be a 10. And then the other side's got a sea serpent on it. How cool is that? Lots of those, too. Cool. Okay, so those are the coins. Let's see what else is in this box. All right, let's see. We got some punch outs by the looks of it. All right, so these are some of the punch outs. We got the sea serpent tokens on these, but if you have the wooden ones, you won't need these, right? We've got the money tokens, which we won't need necessarily if we have metal coins. We've got the blimps. There's a blimp on this one. But we have the maple version, so we don't necessarily need these. Same thing with these mountains, right? And these shrines. We've got the physical version of those. But we will probably still need these tokens here, I would imagine. And these as well. And then these as well. Probably. That. Yeah, cool. So those are the tokens. And yeah, so that's the other side. And then this board is exactly the same as the other one. by the looks of it. Same stuff. And then these have the player boards that if you're playing with a certain expansion that adds the player boards, that is. So we've got player boards and looks like pathway tokens, some more money. And that's the artwork on the other side of the player board. Cool. And another one of those player boards with the same stuff on them. And another one. And another one. Very, very cool. So that's, I think, it for the punch outs. What else do we got in here? Well, we got the rule book. I skip rule books. So we'll skip that for the now. And then it looks like we've got the boards in here. Here's a board. Here's a board. And here's a board. Oh, and here's another board. Okay, cool. There's 4 boards. Wow. And then let's see here. We've got cards. Huh. It's got a yak on it. Oh, and an old man with a carrot on the end. Cool. And then we've got more cards. Very cool. And we've got even more cards. So we'll look at the cards last. Let's see what else we got. We got some score pad. And we got more score pad. Same one, just more of it by the looks of it. And then baggies for all those punch outs. And then looks like we've got tuck boxes to make or put together. Trade tokens, sea serpents, simultaneous and solo modes. So stuff that's going to go in here. So some of the expansions that would go in this one, I guess. That's beautiful. I love that. Specialties, upgrades, values, and feuds. That's some more expansions, especially the feuds. There's a feud card, only one of those feud cards, if I remember correctly. But yeah, cool. That one's got a bird on it. Then we've got places in this one. Cool. I guess the score pads can go in here, and base cards can go in here. That's cool artwork. And then exploration, mountains, shrines, airships, and volcanoes. These are all expansions. So there's an exploration expansion, a mountain expansion, a shrines expansion, an airship expansion, and a volcanoes expansion. So all of those expansions would go into this tuck box by the looks of it. Another cool one. Cool, cool, cool. All right, and we still have the boards and cards still to look at. So let's take a look at the boards next. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, cool. Well, let's look at these boards. And they're going to be double-sided too. And each side is going to have a different map on it. So here's the first one. Very, very cool. Now, from what I understand, there's at least one expansion that you have to play a certain board with. But the rest of them, I think, you can play with any of the expansions. So that's cool. So we've got like a house here with the barn, perhaps. We've got a small little outpost here with a harbor. A house there. A house there. You know, an ancient city there, perhaps. An ancient shrine, perhaps. Another ancient shrine of sorts here, which could be some sort of tribal shrine. And then it's hard to see, but can I do it without... I guess I can't. But there's a... I can't bring it up because... Let's see if I can do it that way. Can I do it that way? So then there's a tiny little house here that looks like it's not really a house, but like an underground house or something here. Very hard to see, but yes, cool. So that's you know, one of the boards. Now let's flip it over to the other side. Okay, got a house here, nice town here, a village here perhaps. There's a boat and a dock here, possibly the way up. A tower here, an ancient city here, a town here perhaps, another ancient city thing here. Ooh, there's a house up here too, with a harbor directly on the house. That's cool. And there's a cave here. That's cool. I just like pointing out all the interesting things that I see on these maps. Very cool, very beautiful. Okay, so that's 2 of them. 2 of the maps, and there's still 6 more to look at. All right, let's look at the next one. Or the next 2, that is. Okay, wow, we got lakes on this one. We've got 3 lakes, and even though this has some information here, this is one of the lakes. And it says, all land spaces are considered one island. And you get 4 points if you per lake you control. Huh. It's interesting, considering there's lots of, you know, this is an area, this is an area, this is an area, this is an area. There's lots of areas in this lake. So I guess you would have to control the majority of the areas to control the lake to get the 4 points. Unless you have to control all of them, which I doubt. But maybe. Let's see here. Well, we've got an ancient ruined tower. Got a little house here next to the boat, and next to the harbor. We've got a nice house here. Almost like a Fort Lake house. Another ancient building. Perhaps an ancient building there. We got a little village here. There's a cave up on this one, next to this ridge here. Pretty cool. Some interesting places on this one. Okay, let's look at the other side. I really like this one. This one looks very similar to like a, what's that place called? Yes, it reminds me of the Zangar Marsh from WoW. That's what it reminds me of, the Zangar Marsh, because it's got giant mushrooms, and so did Zangar Marsh, and it has huge trees, which Zangar Marsh I don't think had, but they had ginormous mushrooms. And the glow of the map reminds me of Zangar Marsh. But beautiful map. We got a village here, a town here. There's a small little house here. And a pyramid there. An ancient city here. Did I say there was a house here? Yeah, and then 2 giant trees. Well, 3. That's a pretty big tree too. So 3 giant trees, huge mushrooms. Very beautiful looking map, for sure. I love looking at this one. Okay, so that's 4 maps. Down, 4 maps to go. Okay, well I have it backwards. Oh wow, I like this one a lot. I think this is my favorite thus far. Wow, it's so beautiful to look at. We've got a house here. We've got a nice town here. Little village here, looks of it. This is a huge town right here. It's even got a castle town right next to it. Oh look, there's an island town. That's literally the entire island is a town. Wow, or isle. That's cool. There's a lone tower on this island. And it looks like there's a little tiny house up here. Perhaps 2 little houses. So tiny little outpost perhaps. That's beautiful. I love this one. Oh, wait a minute, what's this? Oh, this is like a town too. I almost missed this. There's just so much to look at. It's easy to miss something. But it's got like a little mine shaft right here. So it looks like a mining town on an isle. That's what it looks like. Even the ground seems very, very mine-like. You know, something you would see from a mining town. Yeah, it's just really beautiful to look at. Yeah, I think this is my favorite map to look at. Ooh, there's a windmill here too. That's cool. Some interesting sights to see on these maps. Okay, and then the other side is a snow map. Well, that's cool. Well, we got an ancient looking city here. Another ancient city here. An ancient tower here. Looks like we got a little village, little snow village right here. There's a nice little, you know, lodge here by the looks of it on this isle here. And this isle has a big bird's nest right here. And look, there's like a dragon skull right here. Or a dinosaur skull, perhaps. Something. That's cool. Very beautiful map to look at. And to play on. Okay, so we still have 2 maps to look at and several cards to look at. Okay. Wow, 3 big volcanoes in this one. That is cool. Looks like there's an ancient city up here. An ancient city here. An ancient, maybe not even ancient. Maybe these aren't ancient. Maybe this is just the, just matches the area pretty well. Same thing with this one. These might be inhabited. They look like they could be. Same thing with that one. Maybe not this one. Maybe not that one. But these look like they have inhabitants. You know, that's cool though. Definitely a volcanic region. Not very much growing here. But you notice this looks like grass right here. Just, you know, kind of yellowish. Yeah, it's pretty cool to look at for sure. And then the last one. With a giant volcano in the middle. And so this is going to be, from what I understand, this is if you're playing with the volcano expansion, you have to play with this map. That's what I remember anyways. Looks like there's a little drawbridge, a little, you know, rickety bridge here between these 2 isles with the going into a cave system. That looks cool. Yeah, nice islands here in the corners. There's a tiny little house on this island. There's a nice, looks like house-like tower here. But yeah, beautiful artwork. Oh, there's a house there too. That's cool. An ancient looking town here. Very, very cool. Looks like there's an underground cave that's connected to the sea here too, as well as potentially there. That's just really beautiful to look at. Cool, so that's all of the maps. That is all of the maps. So that just leaves cards to look at. All right, let's look at these cards. Let's see. What's the best way to open this? All right, so I already opened up all of the cards. It took a moment. Some of them weren't as easy as others. So this is for the Feuds expansion. Fierce Feuds, or just Feuds. So I guess a variation of each, a harder version and an easier version. But that's like the only card that goes with this expansion for the game. 6 Sojourns, the Feuds expansion. Cool. And then this is what the cards look like on the other side. Very beautiful to look at. Let's look at these cards next. So let's see here. Let's zoom in a bit more. Okay. So I'm just going to go through them. If you want to look at them, you can just pause the video, right? I guess I'll read what they say though, right? Let's do that. If you control the red stone fort, so I suppose you'd be playing with a certain map. If you control the crater, if you control 4+ trade tokens, so those little tokens that we saw earlier, if they're somewhere on the board and you control where they're at, that's what I would imagine would be the answer to that, right? If you have 7+ of this type of good, if you have 6+ of that type of good, which is clothes or sewing or something, if you have 5+, if you have 5+, if you have 4+ of art or something, if you have 4+ swords or 3+ jewelry, 7+ what I think is like food plus artistry maybe, sewing and maybe leatherworking, 7+. So lots of different stuff on those. Upgrade a trade. Love the artwork. A couple of those, it looks like. They're all, well, they have different stuff on them, don't they? They do. They're the same thing, but they have different stuff on them. So that's cool. If you upgrade a trade, all of these are if you upgrade a trade. Well, the upgrades, I think, is an expansion. Place a sea serpent, you get that. Or if you have this card, place a sea serpent, you get that. That's what I think that means. That's really cool. Remove a sea serpent from the board and place it again. And then starting card, it says value, the sea. And starting card, value, building. Starting card, value, trades. And starting card, value, cunning. Cool. So that's one set of cards gone through. That's cool. That is very cool. Okay, let's look at these next. Are they all the same on the other side? Looks like it. Okay. Okay, if you control the island tower. Once again, these are map specific. If you control Volcano B, that's why there was a B on that volcano, and a C on another one. If you control Volcano C. If you control the Colosseum. If you control the Mountain Palace. I'm glad these areas I pinpointed have names. If you control the Southern Village. See, that was a village. If you control the dock. If you control the hot spring house. That's a hot spring house. Cool. If you control Volcano A. If you control the rock house, which is that tiny little rock house that was next to the volcano on the other little isle. If you control the rock temple. If you control the jungle house, that tiny little house on that same map. If you control Skull Cave. Cool. If you control the water cavern. Man, that was another place I pointed out. If you control Haining Bridge. I definitely pointed out to that too. If you control the ruins. If you control the most spaces on the Fire Island. If you control the Fire Mountain. If you control the Fortress West. Oh, that's what those are for. Those tokens, those red tokens. That's what they were. Let me find them. These red tokens, I think, are the lava tokens. Yeah, I think that's what they were. Cool. Very cool. Sorry. I'm just realizing what they are now. I didn't look at the rule book yet, so. If you control the Fortress West. If you control the Fortress East. Same island, same isle, just different sides of the same isle. If you control Bear Cave. Ooh. I did not pinpoint that cave. If you control Cliff Lodge, I did call it a lodge. Haha. If you control the mysterious tower. If you control the longboat. If you control the nest. If you control the snow shrine. If you control the giant skull. If you control the northern cottage. If you control the mountaintop mine. That is a mine, I was right. If you control the Eastern Woods Village. I like how these all have names. If you control the Southern Trade Village. If you control the old church. If you control the windmill. If you control the castle town, which was next to the castle. If you control the Crimson Castle. If you control the clock building. I did not notice that had a clock on it. If you control the Southern Inn. If you control the ruined tower. I did call it a ruined tower. If you control the Western Shore town. If you control Hill Fort. I thought that was sort of like a fort-like house. If you control the Centipede Cave. I didn't see this one. Cool. That's a cool name for a cave. If you control the Ancient Runestone. If you control the Southern Forest. If you control the Old Tomb. If you control the Chasm. If you control the Little Mushroom Isle. If you control the Southern Shack. If you control the Southern Mother Tree. If you control the Western Mother Tree. That's cool. If you control the Three-Pronged Shrine. If you control the Southern Dome. If you control the Central Mother Tree. If you control the Central Island Village. If you control the Enchanter's Pyramid. Cool. And then we've got rivals, looks like. New neighbors. Skilled builders. Seafarers. Crafty traders. Wayfarers. Rival family. Shrewd trader. Quick relocation. Rival family. Rival family. Slow growth. Rapid growth. New house. And shrewd trader. Whew, that's a lot of cards. And we still have more cards. We still have more cards to look at. Are these all the same on the other side? Looks like it. Okay. Okay, so what do we got here? No words to read, but a very beautiful picture to look at. Cool. Beautiful artwork. We won't read these out, but wow. Like the artwork. Cool bird. Some cool stuff here. If you control the Clay Village. If you control the Eastern Island Lighthouse. If you control the Southwestern Cave. If you control the castle. If you control the Northern Island Cave. If you control the Northwest Red Temple. If you control the Yellow Roof Fishing Village. Cool. If you control the Blue Roof Stilt House. If you control the Northwest Graveyard. If you control the Archway. If you control the Cliff House. If you control the Southern Lodge. If you control the Sea Village. If you control the Pyramid Tower. If you control the Rocky Point Inn. And if you control the Stonehead Mausoleum. Cool. That is all of the cards. That is everything that comes in the deluxe edition of 6 Sojourns. Thank you guys for watching this unboxing. I hope to see you guys again next time. Bye.